Top of the day to you. It's the Mental Health Show. Donnie Glover in the house. If I think better, I do better. Special thank you to New Life Recovery. The show is on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 noon. And there's our fearless leader, the one, the only, providing recovery, and not just recovery, sustainable recovery, the changing of lives, mindsets. Ben McCormick, how are you, sir?
Wonderful, Donnie. Wonderful, wonderful. Good afternoon to you. Forgive my partial lateness. I have to deal with real-time situations, and I try to make sure that I can cut this time off, man, to do what we need to do for the community. So I apologize, but I'm here. That's the most important thing.
Then I wanted to thank you. I wanted to take this opportunity to acknowledge the support of New Life Recovery to the work that we've been doing for many, many years. And as you have talked about recovery, you said you wanted to do this show, New Life Recovery, focused on mental health. Now, I brought you Dr. Stacey Eady. I brought you Dr. Dan Morheim. Now, I need to bring you a Baltimore legend. Now, I don't know who your pediatrician was when you were a kid. Who was your pediatrician when you were a child?
We had Dr. Wade. Matter of fact, the name of street after him in Turner Station. Dr. Wade was everybody's pediatrician in Turner Station because, you know, we were a small black community down in Turner Station. He was our pediatrician, our doctor, pediatrician, doctor, everything for decades, Donnie.
Well, I'm going to introduce you to my pediatrician's son, who is now the Dr. Z, the one and only Dr. Michael Zollicoffer. Welcome back. How are you,
What's
sir?
Up, my brother? What's up, my feelings? Good seeing everybody.
Got to Z. Good to have you here, man. Thank you for coming and sharing your time experience with us.
No problem, baby.
That.
Yes, sir. Anytime Dolly calls, I come. Now, if somebody come and get me out of here, y'all know I'll take a break and I'll come back. All right? Because you know I'm up here for this office. I told the patient got a hold because Donnie Glover called. And we got to get here and give information to the people because this is a very important subject matter.
Absolutely.
And I come at it a little different than most people.
Mental health, tell me about it.
You want to hear from me?
People, they come in there, you told me countless times, the mama come in there, she not feeling well, she's not working, the kid,
right,
or the kid is having troubles in school, 70% single mother household, while America has 5% of the world's population. We have 25% of the world's incarcerated persons. And although we are only 15% of the population, we, black men, make up 35% of the people in prison. Black women are fastest growing demographic. And then when it comes to socioeconomic indicators, I live in Sandtown, Winchester. You work in Park Heights. Vend services, people in recovery all over Baltimore. It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. We are the creators of that mess. And I'm telling you, always say you in Sandtown, and you know I'm still in Sandtown. Because I ain't leaving the people. And that's what our main problem is. That's what we do. We get ourselves in these dichotomies that we think we made it. And then we sort of just burn and pillage the black community of our talents. All right. So when we talk about mental health, and the reason I bring that up is because it's about something much deeper than what we do. I teach NP students and PA students and medical students. I won't leave them because I'm probably the only one who's telling them that the main thing you need to be taught, which they're not being taught, and we got to hear this, is social interactions. It's number one problem in this country. If we go out here to anybody providing therapy, their main problem is not because their humors are off. Their main problem is because your life is off. And we are ill-equipped with many of our therapists to change that life situation because that's what's doing this. America breeds stress. You say USA, say stress. And you can't sit back and worry about putting somebody on Prozac and Zoloft all day when they need a change. And I'll give good examples of that. I had a young lady, as you sort of alluded to, so we can look at it, and we don't even talk about the numbers yet. I'll get to that in a minute, but I think some of these case situations are good to hear. Pretty girl, and see, I teach that. I walk in my students and say, "What did you see in that room?" They come back, "We just saw a patient." No, you didn't. You saw a pretty girl. Talk about it. Stop being ashamed of yourself. You saw a pretty girls will get preyed on by black men, and I'm not saying negative. That's what we do as people. She pretty, okay? So she got three babies. Dad, I'm just telling you the truth, people. She got 3 babies, 3 daddies. That's pretty girl syndrome. She gonna get poked, and I tell her that. But she has no job. She becomes a victim of the male as he pursues her in our normal way. I'm not even down in the middle. This is just normal stuff we do, but we act like we got some major problem. Let's talk about it real. And I say, baby, she's coming to forever. And she got more problems. She's like a little hypochondriac, but don't worry about that. She's been since birth. See, I've been giving care to people for 40 years. I'm like their daddy. I'm like their granddaddy. I'm like Dr. Wade that my buddy here went to. You got? They serve a purpose, and we got to get the young doctor, the old doctor sometimes, to understand. And I'm not saying people are not doing everything, but they don't do this in a concerted thing. So I said, baby, here's your next visit. Here's your prescription. You got to get a job. So let's say, see, look, I'm the doctor, but now I'm an employment expert. How many doctors put on their pad time to get a job? I guarantee you it's about 0. I mean that. So I lay out the top. Number one, go hire black folks is the Postal Service. Hires more black folk than hardly anybody. U.S. Postal, you a black person want a job? And I'm talking about career jobs. I'm not talking about McDonald's, dirty. Federal Express, UPS. If you got a little education, us.gov. So sometime if they got education, I send them down to the community college. Give me a year or 2. Then we can put down us.gov, and I don't care. I'm going to talk about the government. Government sorry as heck. But they got good jobs. You get that job, your butt is set for life unless you shoot 3 presidents.
Social Security right in Woodlawn.
There you go. I'm trying to tell you. And you also got other places right over Mondawmin too that service unemployment situations. We don't utilize it. Okay? And then if I didn't say so, Federal Express, UPS, the Postal Service, as I said, us.gov, and we get out there and we put ourselves down. So other days she come in, miss 3 babies with 3 people. And everybody said, the students said, Dad, I see she look happy today. I said, say, sweetie, why you smiling? Because I got something to tell you. Now listen to me, folks. I wrote this in a prescription. She's stressed. She's manipulated. She can't get peace. She's running to a doc every week. And they don't understand it because you're treating her ailment, but her ailment is between her ears. Her ailment is a socialization. She says, Dr. Z, I got a job at the post office. Come on, I'm clapping with you. Because every time I tell a story, I'm about to cry. I'm telling you one, and I got many who I got jobs, who get out their 2-bit moments. Because if I can equalize your social economic situation, if I can move you from point A to point B, I've got you on the road to recovery. What did I say? Recovery. Because the stress of America is metastatic. And if we don't equip ourselves with the right providers, we cannot cure this problem. That's why it's getting so gigantic, because we're hitting the wrong thing. You got me? You change a person's life and make yourself trained to do so. And if it takes your effort, that you got to stay there longer and you got to work harder, then you got to do it. And if you don't want to do it, you're in the wrong field.
I've been wanting to pose this to you for a while now, Doc.
Take it to me.
I grew up on Moreland and Baker.
Right.
Across the park was Dr. Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
He was my childhood pediatrician, the one that did the old circumcision thing.
Right.
I was about 14. 6 cats in the neighborhood stuck them up and killed them. They are just coming home. after 42 years.
Right.
In the beginning of my show, you know I do this the clip with you saying we don't like poor black people.
We done.
One of the things that you often talk about is the classism.
Right.
And you also talk about a time when the doctor lived next door to the trash man.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Now you can't get a black woman to move into Sandtown these days because she want to live in Owen my arm and my leg mills, Vandalstown, and Hoodlawn. And
That's
I got
right.
you. I get it. But
that's right.
The white girl is moving into Sandtown.
Mm-hmm.
What do I make of all of this? You say come to the hood, but we come to the hood and we killing our doctors. You go out to the county, then the other people moving into the neighborhood, and it's reverse segregation.
This right. It's this. Boy, you open up a can of worms there, brother. Because we could be talking for 5 shows about the despondency of a society that has lost itself. Well, all I can say to what you said is what the Temptations said way back in the 60s. Ball of confusion. Ball of confusion. That's what the world is today. Ball of confusion. You know what? The 60s wasn't as confused as now. This is utter confusion, utter chaos. You've been led
he
by
was he back then, and she was she. You ain't had to tell nobody.
Hey, look, he keep opening up more Pandora's box. Put that as a separate show. I can talk to you about the transgender thought process and the difference in homosexuality and our trends in this nation, which is being, again, taken in a direction it shouldn't. You just said so much about folks who've gone into the system and need to be rehabilitated. You've talked about, murders. Even way back then, they've served a significant amount of time. But you're looking at a certain situation where the keenness is, how do we not let our society, and it's true. You go to Canton, you go to Fells Point, they don't look stripped. But Sandtown, Winchester looks like it has been stripped. Park Heights been stripped. Now we're rehabilitating it, but we're giving a new culture. You see, you're not going back to the single family home. You're being multi-people dwellings. That is not the energy of Park Heights. That's not the energy of Edmondson Avenue. People got to understand that. How you rehabilitate us is very key, but we're not listening to it because we want the physical plant more than the humanistic plant that gets you to the right mindset. So we have got to sit back, and if you don't have a go to Sandtown, Winchester mentality, and the white girl or not comes, we got to get people to understand that if you stay there or not, you got to still have a care of your people to leave a plot. And here's what I'm saying. It don't cost nothing to stay in Sandtown. It don't cost a dime. I'm just being honest with you. Compared to go out to Columbia. Let's lose Columbia because everybody loves it. Columbia. Howard County Schools, wonderful situation, good place to be. But if you got enough care to go there because you're trying to rid yourself of the city, and you buy your $500,000 house, how about buying a $400,000 house and put money of the $100,000 you save into the hood? That keeps the mentality there. That's why I'm there. I've never lost my hood home. I let people stay there when I'm not there because I'm about the community and I'm not about being an MD.
Tell me that project story about your daddy took you down to projects.
Oh, baby, I'm just telling you the truth. Back in the day, that's a different energy. That's what I'm saying to my doctors. And somebody wrote me out the last show. I'm going to get to them. But the biggest thing is I'm not down in black docs. I need you. I'm downing the system that controls you. You see. Wow. I'm downing the system because your black face, if it's not controlled by your black energy, is nothing but a manipulation of the majority of people, meaning the white face. And I'm not talking about racism. I'm talking about economics. White faces control this country. And they're not always for your betterment, nor are they always for your negative. But you have to be ready, folks, and not be bamboozled because we have an entities of black folk. So when you talk about dad, I'm saying here's the realness of what's different now and then. Today, you kill grandmothers when they cross the street. Today, you kill children. There is no thought because the humanity is gone, which is a direct problem with our mental health. If you don't have an ethic or humanity, which has been lost in our schools. If you look at this morning, I had a wonderful principal on who is trying to change this. I was on there with Wake Up Baltimore, but you'll look at that because it's key because we all working collectively together. So Dad would take me to the house calls because I was the oldest. So this dude, if he go down to the projects at 11 o'clock at night, Michael, get on in the car. I said, fool, I don't want to go down there with you. You go make your house call on your own. We talking about like Wade did for you, man. You know, that home thing. So we get up, going to the hood. I'm sitting in the car dying. I hope it's like a little abrasion he can put a Band-Aid on and get back in the car in about 3 minutes. But sometimes it may be an hour. Won't no cell phones. I couldn't do but cuss him under my breath. It's your daddy. He got you out in the hood. I said, I know I'm going to die tonight. I know where I'm going to survive. I'm all down in the back of the Lincoln Mark IV, hiding in the seats. He come out and said, Michael, what you do? I said, I'm hiding, Daddy. I'm scared. He said, boy, let me tell you something. And it's key. Let me tell you something. You see the guy up there in the El Dorado. And it sounds like a movie script, but this is a true story. You see the guy up there in the El Dorado. Yeah, I see him, Daddy. Boy, that's the local drug dealer, baby. He the kingpin. He ain't gonna let nobody touch you. Do you hear what I'm saying, son? When I walk in that building, if somebody touches me, they suffer the road of the street. That means he gonna call and say, you don't touch that who helps us. You don't touch that which helps us. So you can go back to 72 and talk about almost 300 murders. But they were criminals in their element, and I'm not condoning murder.
Well, I got to throw this in on you, Doc. My daddy took me on them house calls, but you know, my daddy was the undertaker, and we pulled up in the hearse. So I ain't quite had the same problem.
Whole different issue.
I did lock a couple people in the morgue, though. I ain't gonna lie. In East Baltimore,
you just want to scare them a little bit.
Yeah, we tricked them in the morgue.
Hey, Doc, I was listening to you talk about that sister who got the job at the post office.
Right.
And what it did, it put me in the mindset. So down here at New Life, I have a hotel. And I don't know how much Donnie shared with you. I have a hotel down here at 110 St. Paul Street. Used to be where Radio 1 used to be.
Right.
So what I've learned, and I've had the program for about 5 years. I had the hotel for about a year.
Okay.
So what I've learned, Doc, and what I'm doing is I can only help the person that comes to me, but so much, right? So it's easy to help them stop using the substance, right? That's the easy part. What I've learned, and this isn't in a book, this is something that you have to learn by being in the trenches and being a part of these people's lives on a daily basis. Once we get the drugs out of the system and teach them what the state tells them we need to teach them through the ASAM, now we want to get you to a point where you want to be responsible for yourself. So what I've learned and found to be very valuable and necessary is that we had to put these men and women in contact with the means to take care of themselves beyond us. Because I can tell you, this is what happens. And I've seen this, and this is one of the reasons why I was implored to start my agency. I had the benefit of renting some property to some other agencies before I started my agency between 2015 and 2018, right? Mm-hmm. So I saw how they were doing things, and I don't have the best thing here. This is not a perfect agency by any means. I'm telling you what I saw, Doc. I saw how they would have these people in their programs who are on Medicaid because they're below the economic scale. So they would be in the program for a specific amount of time because Medicaid is only going to pay that program for, let's say, 6 months of treatment. After 6 months, they take their hands off of you because they can't make no more money off. And they was putting these people out in the street because and I hate to say it, but I saw it, Doc, right? It ain't what nobody told me. I saw it. So we can't make no money off you. We're going to give you a graduation. That's why I don't have any graduations. You got to go. If you're not prepared, you clean as a whistle. You got 6 months clean time, but you don't have a plan. You can't go back to where you used to live because they still getting housed. I know it's your family. They still doing their thing in that house. Ain't nothing changed but the date. You the cleanest thing.
That's
You can't
right.
go back over there. And in them 6 months while you was at the program, they did not, for whatever reason, they didn't stress the importance of you getting a job. You
There
may
you
have gotten
go.
ID, right, and your social security card and your birth certificate because that's part of PRP. You might have gotten
Right.
those, but it stopped right there for whatever reason, right? And I'm not blaming any other organization. They
Right.
didn't stress the need for you to go get job
Right.
development, right? They
Right.
didn't stress that, right? You could
Right.
have gone, you could have potentially even gone and got your GED, right? Because most of them don't have their high school diploma, right?
That's
So
right.
I found that when I started New Life, I said I got to do what other people are not doing or
Mm-hmm.
doing very little of. So I'm pleased to tell you that right now we have 12 people who have gone through my program who've been with me for over a year. So they got
Okay.
at least a year sobriety. They went to I have a association, a partnership with University of Maryland Medical Systems. They have a job development program. We put
Mm-hmm.
them in there in the job development program. It's an 8-week cyclical program. It repeats itself. And if
Right.
you go and you go to 8 weeks in specific times of day, it's not even 8 hours. It's maybe 5 hours a day. Go up there to University of Maryland campus and
Right.
you go take their classes. Some of them is computer literacy because a lot of them don't know how to use a computer, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We talking about people who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. Right?
Right.
Writing skills because some of them don't write well, Doc.
Right.
Right? And after you complete that 8-week course, University of Maryland will hire you full time with benefits.
There you go.
That goes back to it's a career.
That's
Now,
right.
when you get that job, because you can't get hired as a doctor or a nurse, but
No, that ain't happening.
if you realize that okay, I got a job with benefits, and part of that benefits package, because I talked to them when I started putting these people in there, is that you can go to school,
There you go.
you can get college education on the university, right?
Right.
And the starting wage is $18 an hour. Now that's not a
There you
whole
go.
lot of money, but it's more money they was making, right? And you had the potential to do even greater things should you decide to do so.
That's right.
So we put their lives, or we help to put their lives
And
in
that's
their own hands.
and that's a start. And that's
That's it.
what's so wonderful. And that's what we said. The reason I want to come up here with Don is because you just said it. We put people in the health mentality. And when the funds run out, I don't care what about your health, I will throw you out to the wolves. We need to reorient the financial backing of programs that you just said on the second stage. Because you have things like that, and many times they get these jobs because they have the people on Medicaid. They try to teach them to get a job. I really don't like the program because you don't really care what job they get. You don't care if they're at McDonald's. You're not making a living at McDonald's unless you own the store, which is fine to get them to do. But that's not the majority of them. And then if they get the job, then you take their benefits away. Now they're worse off than when they started. So that's the mindset I'm trying to change. If I'm going to give you a job, I shouldn't make you worse than when you went there. So we have to stop this lunacy, this bamboozlement. Let me tell you why, and I'm going to show you a good example that mirrors exactly what you're saying. You know about vehicles for change?
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay, that is what we need. There's a good friend of mine, Marty Schwartz. Now he's heralded all across this state, taking people out of the jail system, getting them a job, a real job, and helping their families. And it's a two-phase appointment. They get the real job, get the certificate, get out in the workforce, get another certificate. By a year or so, Marty's got these men making almost $70,000. When we would throw them to the trash bowl before. On top of that, the cars that they rehab then go to the poor people who can't get to work, who now have a vehicle to get themselves better off. If he can do it, then we as a society do it. It shouldn't be just Marty Schwartz and Vehicles for Change. It should be your program and all the programs. That's why I'm trying to make mental health, not just mental health, socioeconomic deprivation is a health problem, not a sociological problem. Doctors, it's a health problem. Change your way of thinking. You don't have enough mental health providers out here, folks. The numbers are dismal. And I'm just going to say something. It doesn't have to be correct, but just because it emphasizes my problem. You probably got one provider to about daggone near 5,000 to 10,000 patients. Who can see that? And I'm not downing our providers. Most of them are still counselors and not real doctors. And not even the doctor, I'm not putting it to it because we are not trained to take care of socialization problem when it's the number one thing feeding you. Your derelict system in the United States of America that could let a bamboozle president like Donald Trump spell hatred through your land. There's something wrong with us, and we got to have shows like you're doing, Donnie, and shows like this to people to hear. You got to change the way we're doing it, and we're not doing what we need to do. You know it's good. When you change social economics, you change the health of someone's life.
Absolutely.
What happened to our mental health institutions? What happened such that they started closing their doors and putting people out in Maryland?
Right. The closing the door process has been going on since the 60s. We decentralized your main hospital-based system. That came through the early 60s and spread into the Reaganomics. But why I put Reagan as one of the most catastrophic presidents that ever was. When I get down, I can break it down to you. But when you got to the point of decentralizing mental health and put them out into the field, but you never provided the mechanisms for them to go to. That's why many of your homeless are mentally ill. They have nowhere to go but roam. You have bamboozled the mindset of the population, and you decimated the mental health system, and you had no providers to provide for care. Great system if you had support. You don't have support. That's why I take on most mental health in my office, and it's overwhelming to me. You know, this is a 24 hours a day job for me. I don't stop. I live and breathe medicine. I'm not everybody to take my lifestyle, but I run my mouth so you can hear it, because I think if we hear enough of this, we can reorient our warriors. We can reorient our players. We can reorient everybody. And we're right now playing this okie doke, and nobody's really thinking well enough to know that you've got to provide socioeconomic support so you can move people to a livable index of life. The rest of the world gets it. Why don't we get it? Because you're so capitalistically motivated, Donnie. When you let capitalism be your number one call, everything is a dollar. Even if you have a heart, if you're part of that system, you just get caught up.
Here's a question I've been wanting to pose to you, Doc. This country, it's amazing. We're 15% of the population. The Latinos have jumped past us.
Right.
In numbers, numerically. Right. They got reinforcements coming across the border daily. Now, I don't know if Trump was right, was wrong, but this is what I do know. We have an increasingly Latino population across America. I was up in Frederick yesterday, and there was so many Latinos. It was like, wow, it was just nothing but Latinos. This is where I'm going. But a lot of times, if they are illegal, they can't. If they're in a domestic situation, they can't call the police. She can't go to the hospital. She can't go to the doctors. What will this do? What will this do with this burgeoning population of immigrants, and let alone some of the gang problems and the cartel problems?
Right.
Where is all of this headed? Where will we be going? What will we see?
You just have a new brunt of slavery. I mean, let's just be honest with you. However, their alternative is much worse of staying where they were. So America is the home of situations, but we have to learn how to deal with what we bring in. And I'm not sitting there and going against immigration. I think it's wonderful. We have to put some controls in place, et cetera, et cetera. We can't just have willy-nilly come across. But the amount of degree of gangs and cartels that come across are minimal to good folks trying to find a way to save their families. And so then we need to help. Like I help every day. I got Spanish people from Pakistan. I got people from across the board. They walk in here. See, I have a barrel-less system down. I fixed the problem. They said, we ain't got no car. I can't even understand what they're talking about. But guess what? I don't care. You need service. I provide service at no cost. You know what I do. No cost. In this office, the world is cured.
Then I don't know if you know this. Then I don't know if you noticed, but Dr. Zollicoffer represented the state of Maryland through COVID. He provided information to the masses of us on how we can stay clean, stay healthy. He didn't have one situation of COVID breakout in his office, and he serviced people all through the pandemic. So he is a Maryland hero, to say the least.
And so I got our people immunized, and I did not let the CDC lead me. So I lost nobody during COVID because I found the answers early, and people can talk all you want to. By the end of the COVID, they were all agreeing with my methodology.
That's
See
great.
what I'm saying to you? We cannot be controlled by Big Brother. That's why I strive not to let him take me, and he trying to break me. But if we get ourselves together as a people, no one can break any of us, because we collectively can do what I need to do monetarily. Did you not see that they raised $500,000 for some fraternity on the University of North Carolina's campus because they wouldn't allow them to take down the American flag? You gave a fraternity $516,000 to have a party. Now, we know most white fraternities are well off on most majority campuses, so they can do that. But just think what I'm saying. You know, I've been talking about $1 from 1 million. And I'm getting ready, because of that, getting ready to take this to another level. Reason I'm going to say it on this show. If somebody can raise $500,000 on a GoFundMe, then there's no reason that me can't put out to everybody on a Facebook post $1 from 1 million. You give me $1 million in my hands, a man who has proven himself to be something for folk. I don't ride no daggone Mercedes. I ride a darn Kia. And it's from 2013. I live on Fulton and Lafayette. 40 years I had the place. Because if I move, I will not let it go, because I got to keep the standard of the hood up. And if I got the wherewithal to do it, then I do it. So $1 from 1 million, think about it. That's $1 million in a place that we can pay somebody's gas bill. That's what we need. I can provide support so I'm not thrown apart out of my offices by the capitalistic system, so I can continue to have a no-barrier health system. All this out of my pocket. I basically live in poverty as a physician, but I don't care, because the goodness of our community is greater than the pockets of Dr. Z.
I got to ask you this one too, Doc. Your office, last office up there around the racetrack, this Saturday.
That's right, it's Sinai, right?
This Saturday, a lot of African Americans found themselves sipping black-eyed Susans, wearing straw hats and seersucker suits, hanging out at the Afro Creek.
Yes.
What happened to that money that black people supposed to got on Park Heights?
Baby, it's finally coming around.
Give us the watermelon and the DJ, and we forget all about the money that they owed us.
You know, this Pimlico rehabilitation, the renaissance of Park Heights has been done. And it's trying to be done. And we're finally making some headway, but it's taking forever. So hopefully it does invigorate that area. But I'm telling you, when you invigorate, don't lose your ethnicity. That is so key. Do not lose Park Heights. You know, when you go to Canton and Fells Point, they didn't lose their ethnicity. What I mean by that, the houses look the same. Go look at Park Heights right now. That does not look like the Park Heights you and I used to grow up with, Donnie. That is not the same Park. And I hear them, and I'm so happy we're trying to reinvigorate and maybe just take it into a new world. Maybe that'll work. But I'm telling you, when I could create what I'm saying universally, because we got enough wealth in this country to take care of these problems. That's including with the Hispanics across the board. Yes, we're getting a lot of deluge of people coming through, but we got a certain set here that need help. Economic help, not just education, because when I take your economics up, your education is going to come. $1 for 1 million, Donnie. We can make it. We get that together, and we care about ourselves. We can change our own lives.
And you know, Doc, one of the things that I don't want to make this political, but
it's too late. Everything we do is political.
I'm saying that in terms of my comment. So the U.S. government has sent. I looked at the total this morning. I think it was over. It was north of 23 or 24 billion to Ukraine thus far, right? And they just sent. I don't remember what the count was. It's singular billions to the Gaza Strip,
right?
And you know, we have the money. The U.S. government has the money to solve its own social problems.
Yes, it does.
They have the money.
Yes,
that's not the question. It's not a question of economics. It's a question of what they decide to do with the money, and that's always baffled me, right? Even as a how old am I? 60-year-old man, with
Right.
23 years clean. It baffles me that the U.S. will not take
24 years clean.
What I say?
You said 23.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just had the 24
There
just
you go.
2 weeks
Put
ago.
it on there right. I love
That's
it.
right. That's right, Dan. Thank you. I need every year. So I'm always baffled as to why America chooses not to take care of its people, right? And that's a rhetorical question. I'm not expecting you to, because we can have that's a whole other 5 shows.
No,
But
But what
it's
do we
powerful.
think mentally going into this election? What are we
hard.
supposed to think?
Yeah,
Well,
you've been.
you know,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Doc.
No, what I'm saying to you, and I say this to everybody, and it may be deep, it may be get esoteric out there, but it's not. It's really the culmination of why we live. You have been culturally determined. When you come in America, it makes you think a certain way. If I take a black man and put him in Japan, I will guarantee you wouldn't even think he was a black man, because I will take him culturally and manipulate his mind that he regurgitates Japanese. This is a powerful statement, because you're saying we got the money, but we don't have the priority. We got the money, but we ain't got the heart, because I cultivated your heart the way I wanted to you. The English policeman does not wear a gun. Let me say that once again. The English Bobby does not have a gun. Could you think he could exist in Baltimore City?
He get got.
He is going to get taken out. How can it work in England? Because I have got your mindset the way I want it. They made a decision to not have an adversarial relationship. You see? And so when a criminal robs the bank, I say, I got you. He said, oh, shucks, you got me. Puts his hands up and goes away with the police. Not in America. I'm going to cap you. That's one of the problems. I just told you I was in the hood. Back then, deaths were of mafioso style. They weren't of grandmothers and little kids where I could just shoot up a whole North Avenue in Pennsylvania and don't care who I hit. That never happened in the 70s. There were no children shot in 1970, 72, 73. Go look at the murder rate. Outrageous. But you had a culture that was bred in a fashion that was different than 2020, 24. That's step one. And I can get deeper into that. That's another show, but you get my point. You have been culturally manipulated, and you don't even know what you're doing. But we got to say something about your money. Why the money also goes. That's the Reaganomics part. See, Reaganomics took the taxation of the rich away. See, people don't understand when Joe Louis won the heavyweight championship, and I know all of us in this room know who Joe Louis is. Other folk I got to educate. But Joe Louis won the heavyweight championship back in the 40s. Joe Louis made $40,000. And this is symbolic. It's embellished a little bit, but it gives you the point. He only took home $4,000 because he was taxed at 90%. Ooh, am I talking something for you folks? He was taxed at 90%. So you had infrastructural money to change the course of this country. Your roads didn't fall apart till later when Reagan took over. And he took the tax rate, actually the rich, almost to zero. And you just recovering back to 40%. But rich people today still pay collectively zero. And let me tell you, rich people who were around in 1940 with Joe Louis. Rockefellers. Do you still hear about the Rockefellers? The Rockefellers still generationally are the richest family in this country. And they were taxed at 90%, people. Vanderbilt, DuPont, Ford. Do I need to go on? You cannot tax a rich patient to poverty, but you can kill your population to hell. And exactly what you have right now. But nobody won't hear because you don't understand your history, and you got to understand it. That's why I educate anytime. You know I'm in here with folks. I ain't got no time to stop at 12 o'clock and talk to y'all. But guess what? I love this city. I love this Donnie. I love everybody. Now I love the heck out of you and what you doing. You got me? Because we have to do it, people. Doctors, you got to take time. And why can I do it? Because I control who I am. You can't do this aside. They can't stop in the middle of the day. You call them, oh no, they be done fired me. I ain't worried about it. I control the destiny, so I control the conversation. Do you get me? And that's what we got to do it here. That's why I want to be on this.
Vin, I don't know if you know his pedigree, but his daddy was one of the founders of Godwin Medical Center.
I did not know that.
Yes.
But that's wonderful because we need Godwin over there where they
Oh
at.
yeah, we need Godwin back to where it was. We lost control of that. Again, a problem.
Right.
Because many times we became our own worst enemy, though we were most innovative folk back then. But medicine changed, life changed.
Right.
I think the key thing, and we'll leave that message out here for my people because it's a mental health thing. My daddy was not just the founder, help found Godwin, which were all at that time one of the first centers in America that had all black providers. Let's just make sure we hit it. 1969, everything was black. The radiologists, the pharmacists, the OB, the dentists, the ophthalmologists. So don't tell me we can't do it. We're talented people. We got smarts. But sometimes we lose the things because we don't have every part of the business acumen when Doc's back there. That's what made him lose it. But let me tell you about Dad, because it's important that you hear because heart is what they had greater than the center. They made house calls. They sat there with you. I didn't know you got in line. There wasn't no making no appointment. That line could go out to the street. You bought your lunch. You sit your booty down and you'll be patient because the doctor going to see you. Them docs will see 50 to 60 people a day. Thought nothing of it. But my dad was a child prodigy. The youngest man still to this day in North Carolina A&T. Went there at 13, finished at 17. Let me say that one more time. Entered North Carolina A&T at the age of 13 and finished at 17. At that time, before the Flexer report, there were 20 black medical schools, 15 to 20. That's how many black medical schools. You ain't got but hardly 4 now. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You had 20 minority medical schools in 1940 and 50. We got something wrong here. You know that's crazy. But because my dad wanted to be a man, wanted to be like everybody else, he refused to go to the black medical school. He waited till the University of North Carolina would allow black people to come in his institution. He said, why can I grow up in the state of North Carolina? I can't cheer for the Tar Heels. Why I got to be a fan and not an alumni? And so I care to be an alumni. I care to be a man that gets to do everything a white man does. So I will sit here and bang on your goddamn door till you let me in. He banged on the door, my brother, for 10 years.
Wow.
He graduated 17 from North Carolina State and waited 10 years to be the 4th African American to enter the University of North Carolina Medical School. I being the first generation, that's the stuff that Donnie tells you. You know what? That ain't got to do about money. It ain't got to do about nothing. It's got to be that we face the adversary and we won. From a heart. He didn't go with malice. He didn't go with feeling bad. He went in and took his place because the times had changed and he whooped their booties. He became the #1 student in the class. And he was on a street with other students like him because we were talented. We were the best when he let it here. And don't think we did it alone because white folks suffered to get us in that institution. I met some of what I got there. So it ain't about white, black, and green, yellow, and Hispanic. It's about, do you have the heart to suffer and care about that which equalizes the playing field? And we can do it. And that's why we got this show, because the mental health of this country is because we're stagnant in what we do as a country. And you're causing the mental health problems because we are out of our minds. Out of our minds. And we got to make it a health problem. Social, economic depression and deprivation is a health problem. It gets you addicted to drugs. It gets you addicted to alcohol and any other thing in between. That's why we got to be serious. We got to change the economic condition of our people. That's why I come on this show, because I don't care what's in it. Nothing more important than what we're talking about right now. And if Marty Schwartz can do vehicles for change, we can make any sort of thing like that to do what you need and everybody to do it, and we can change the movement when we got the right voices. And you're sitting here today with the right voice and the right connotation and the right of alpha. And the energy is here. Come on, people, wake up, doctors. Stop it. Get out here and help your people. And just not your black face ain't all we can take. We got to take your action, your knowledge, and I'm trying to give it to you. I'm out here to tell you, you got to change the way you do business. It has got to go, Donnie. It's outrageous.
Ben, I want you to plug the summit that we have coming up on June 6th.
So it's in the banner, but Doc, we're having a, and I'd like to talk to you off camera. We're having a mental health summit. It's our first one. We believe the need is there. The New Life Recovery Summit is June the 6th.
All right.
It's from 9 to 1. It's down here at the hotel at 102 St. Paul Street, which is a Thursday. It's a Thursday, And I would love for you to be able to come down and
No,
be
I
a
love
part
to.
of it. And you and I can talk about that off script.
That's right. Hey, Donnie,
But
get me hooked connected up. Get me connected up.
absolutely. And we appreciate your passion. I hear the passion, brother. I hear the
Oh,
passion.
baby, ain't no more passionate than me, baby. And not only passionate, I lived it. I do this every day.
Yes, sir.
Every moment of my life
Yes,
is
sir.
about what we're doing, and that's what's needed. I can't say
Yes,
anywhere.
sir. Absolutely.
You cannot be. You got to be personally connected to this. This can't be no. I'm going. It's placking out at 5.
Right.
No,
Right.
no. This is your life. You make this major commitment. This becomes your life. And I live a decent life. I ain't bad. I do what I got to. I just take care of folk. I'm trying to say, girls, when both my girls are like, hold up, I gotta answer this call. Yeah, all right, I'll get to my ball the next time. Okay. You see, you can do it, but you've been so bamboozled by culture, it directs you to a very inhumane place. And America right now is suffering the greatest inhumanity. It ain't about a war right now, folks. The war is here on these shores.
Doc,
This is a war.
I want to throw this stat out there.
Throw it
We
out.
all love football. We big Ravens fans. One of the things that Dr. Patricia Newton, God rest her soul, taught me is that the largest venue for sex trafficking is the Super Bowl. And I remember one summit that Dr. Patricia Newton, she was best friends then with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing of the ISIS papers over in DC. But she said, well, she put together this sex trafficking summit over in Eastern Europe, in I believe it was in Poland. But that's where I learned about the sex trafficking, and being the father of a daughter and now 2 granddaughters. I try to enlighten my girls to be aware. Absolutely. I told my daughter that just next door to your house, there could be a young girl who is being trafficked, and you might never know. So keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, and pay attention. Any thoughts, Doc, on, and it's something that's not even discussed much, but when it comes like a ocean. You're like, wow, it's like that. Any thoughts on this sex trafficking in our society?
It's actually just a movement into immorality. And people can see, we actually have talked about sex trafficking this whole show. When I change the mentality away from capitalism into fairness, you will see many of these social ills just go away. You have got to get into schools. You have got to get in where we bring them up in the Head Starts and stop just plugging in. And then said it earlier. He said it right. You got there and the money gone and you gone. So you weren't doing it to get the folks from alpha addiction. That's the back end of the story. If you can, you find a monetary way to take them to the next stage. And you would listen to people like we've talked about on this show to make it better. When I get your moral values together, sex trafficking will go away. But you also have to be real about why it occurs. We are so lost about sex in this country. I talk about it daily. I just told you I had a pretty girl. That's sex. They say, how can you say the things you do when you go to the room? Because I'm everybody's daddy. And daddy can talk. Yes, if you just come in and meet folk, you can't do what I do. I know you can't. But I'm trying to train you to get there. You have to be sensitive to that there's a need. And then you have to be sensitive enough that you can cultivate in yourself how to become a human being. Isn't that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir.
Real love, but not in an esoterical sense. My love is actually packageable. My daddy's love of sitting there on going into projects, the high rises, is palpable. Yeah, it may brought him to his demise earlier than we want to because we work and give so much. And when you get like this, everybody comes. I did a talk on Sunday.
Well, let's talk about that, Doc. How do you set boundaries if you're a giver? They say givers have to set limits because takers rarely do.
Then what? Know what I do? I'm talking to all of you to get more warriors. You know how we do that when you out here as Don Quixote chasing the windmill? I make more Don Quixotes. And that's what I do. That's what I do.
I gotta give you a horse and a big toothbrush.
You just bring that daggone stable, your horse over here to me, and I'm gonna take care of you. But you can even comb with a broken down donkey if you want. I will still see you. I'll come patch at the donkey, then I'll get to you. But that's what I just did at Coppin. I just went to their graduation. Their PhD class of nurse practitioners, I trained 90% of them. Come on, folks.
Wow.
90% of them. Their master's nursing class, I took care of 100% of them. Come on, folks. Why do I do it? Because they hear the Don Quixote message. Woo! Listen to me, people. I try to train warriors. Now, will everyone be a warrior? Maybe not. But they darn sure change their lives, and they say it. You didn't just teach us, you changed my life. Because I give you a different way of looking at it. Go ahead, brother.
I was listening to Donnie, you and Donnie exchange about the sex trafficking. So I had a conversation about a month ago with an organization called Global Refuge.
Right.
Global Refuge is a national company, a national organization rather, and their primary purpose is to house and assist undocumented folk, not just Latinos, but whomever. Mm-hmm. So we are establishing a partnership because they want a floor in my building.
Right.
So I've gotten a few people, some Latinos who are here now. I was contacted about a case where the 14-year-old daughter of this couple, they fled. I can't remember, it was either Honduras or El Salvador, one of those two countries.
Right.
They fled the country within the last 30 days. They managed to make it to America. I don't know how they got here, but they're here now. They're in D.C. right now at a hotel, and they're coming to New Life this week. They're all undocumented, Doc.
Right.
So I'm going to house them for some period of time. We're going to detail it once they actually physically get here. I'm going to house them because they need housing, first of all, right? They need housing so they can sit back and take a deep breath and then put a plan together for their success. Right. I can't imagine. Now, their 14-year-old daughter has been sex trafficked for the last 2 years. They were fortunate enough to get her from wherever she was, and they had to leave the country because they would have all been killed.
That's what I was saying earlier. Right. That's right.
Man, listen, I got a 22-year-old. She's 21. She'll be 22 in a couple months. I got a 21-year-old daughter, Doc, my only daughter, right? Mm-hmm. I can't imagine that, man. I can't imagine what their family's going through right now. They managed to leave their country of origin where their other family members are and take their only daughter and bring it to a new place. Right. And trust in the assistance of people they don't even know.
That's right.
Right. To get into a best. So that's one of the things. And I'm not saying that to toot my own horn. I promise you I'm not. When we get a chance to talk, I put the mission way before the money, man.
Right.
Right. I do. Right. So I'm going to house these people, right, at no expense to them because they need help. This ain't got that. This don't have nothing to do with drugs, alcohol.
That's right.
I got a whole hotel, right? I got 40 rooms that's empty right now, and I'm trying to find the right way to do with these rooms.
Right.
So Global wants a floor. That's 13 rooms. I need to put this couple in one of these rooms, man, so they feel safe. Because I have armed. Donnie been down. I got armed security down. Ain't nothing gonna jump off. You know what I mean? Right. And I got surveillance in every floor. We roll back the tapes to find out. You know, so we've been fortunate to not have any incidents here, but because people see that, it's I don't want to get caught, so let me not do that. So and I pay for security myself. Right. So I say that to say that we have to have. I'm piggybacking off with. We have to have a care and concern for others.
That's right.
It can't be tied to anything other than that's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. And if you got the resources, then do it. That's what I tell everybody. If you got the resources, then do it. And you fight forever, never to be controlled fully by those powers that be to continue to smash their foot on those types of people trying to escape poverty and discontent within their countries. That's why I don't get into this thing about hold off the immigrants. Yes, there's a way to go about it, and we got to fix a problem. But you can't let man suffer. You can't let people suffer. You have to involve yourself. If you have a heart, there's no other way to do it. I don't know how you can do it any other way. And if you need anything from me, they need help, I am here. Barrel is sister. They walk in every day. And guess what? They fall in love because they see me not sitting back and treating you as a second-rate citizen. You are the number one in my book, no matter where you come from, no matter what your walk of life. I will never do that. Can't do it. It's not a part of my being. I wasn't culturalized that way.
Two things, Doc. One, how can people get in touch with you?
So just call the office 410-542-1725 or walk in your door at 2605 Bannister Road. I don't need a call. You come in here.
Okay, and secondly, what would your daddy say to you right now if he were here?
I went to my daddy's grave 2 weeks ago when I was in Carolina. He sits under some nice pine trees looking peaceful on the land he bought before he died. And he would say, Michael, good job. Because he know I kept what he was about going on. And it didn't because he raised me that way. It's because he was that way. That's two different things. I emulated goodness. Let me say that to every parent. Stop raising your children, because my daddy would say he raised me. He said he walked the right path. I had no other path to do but follow the right path. And that's a powerful statement, because we sit here today leading this nation, the three of us. If we walk the right path, they will follow.
The one and only Dr. Z. We love you, man.
Love all of y'all.
Appreciate you, Doc.
Hey, look, appreciate you, buddy. Anything
Yes,
we need, Donnie, we do this as much as you want, brother. We
Yes,
have
sir.
got to start a war against the injustice that this nation brings, and we can do it. That's your mental health problem. Change your society, and mental health changes overnight.
Thank you for being my friend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Doc. Thanks,
Love
Johnny.
you, brother.
Great
I will
show,
holler
man.
at you.
Thank
You
you.
got it.